Greetings, Earthlings, wisdom keepers, wisdom seekers. Welcome back to Wisdom Dropz, your source for daily drops of wisdom and savvy cat astrology. Today, we are doing a Q&A series. If you have a question about astrology, put it down below in a comment so that I can make you a video about it. I literally just got a message from my friend Malcolm with this question. So if you're watching this, Malcolm, thank you so much for your question, and we're going to dive into it. The question is, what about different forms of astrology? What's up with them, and why would I or anybody consider looking at one form over another? And what about combining those forms of astrology? This is a big question, and it's a fun question, so we're going to jump right into it. Now, when considering the types of astrology, first thing to say with that is that there are a lot of different types of astrology out there, y'all. There's not only a lot of types of astrology, but not to confuse you, there's a lot of types of astrology. What do I mean by that? I mean there's like ancient astrology and there's like modern astrology, but under the umbrellas of ancient and modern, you have so many quote-unquote different types of astrology. So I'm just going to keep it more or less simple and just briefly swift over some of these to not overwhelm people, but to give you that wisdom drop nugget that you were looking for when you clicked on this video. Okay, so in terms of ancient astrology, that's where I'll start. What are the merits? The merits of ancient astrology, first off, it's very old, so it had a lot of time to refine. Not only that, but this is the type of astrology that people who built structures that we today cannot even fathom how to build logistically, such as the pyramids. That's a fact in case you didn't know it. We today still cannot replicate the pyramids to their exactness because we don't know how they did it fully. I think it's sound technology, but I digress. Point being, the ancient astrology, when you're looking at that body of knowledge, show some respect, put some respect on ancient astrology's name, because that's the form of astrology that people were studying when we were at a certain golden age on this planet. So we had access to realms of information, in other words, that we today are just now starting to remember, okay? I'm gonna start with that on ancient astrology, okay? The next thing you should know about ancient astrology as a larger body, okay? I'm talking about ancient Hellenistic astrology. That's from the Greeks, the Romans, okay, that whole era, that whole empire, if you will, and also ancient Vedic astrology, which is the other known primary form of astrology out there, which is from India, okay, and all the, I don't even know the verbiage around half of that, but I understand enough of their concepts to talk about and to use that in my astrological practice, okay? It's something I'm still learning a lot about. But the Vishnus, all the people who are high level Indian people in the history of that incredible empire and that culture practiced astrology, okay? And so this ancient body, what about it? It's very good for knowing the soul's journey through life, because ancient astrology, very differently from modern astrology, it looks at a chart, a birth chart, which everybody has a unique birth chart, entirely unique to them, right? It looks as the experience of a soul throughout your lifetime. It doesn't look at it like in the West and in modern astrology. We look at this not so much, just ancient Western astrology also shared this because it's ancient, but in modern astrology we tend to look at the birth chart as the exact opposite, as a psychological profile almost of who this person is. Who is this soul? What is this soul's attributes? Who are this person? Who is this person coming to me? What is their psychology like? How do they think? How do they function? What do they love? What do they care about? And that's true over here in modern astrology, absolutely. But in ancient astrology, they were far less concerned about your attributes and your characteristics than they were the experience and the attributes and the characteristics of your life within this life. They viewed the same information in a different lens, in other words. So they would look like a Venus placement, and whereas in a modern astrology we would be like, oh, your Venus symbolizes your love and your romantic relationships and how you like to relate and link up with other people and all the fashion around that experience of pleasure at an interconnected level, right? And it also rules your finances and stuff like that, so it's how you're going to make money and da da da. In ancient astrology, they probably would have looked more at your Venus and be like, this is how this person's going to experience relationship, and this is how this person is going to experience making money in terms of the health of the planet, the house of the planet, and their relationships are going to look like this, period. And this is how they're going to experience this based on the aspect that this planet is making to other planets. And it's more of like a, it's happening to you, and this is how the story goes type of perspective. It's almost more of like a fate perspective in ancient astrology than it is like a free will astrology view, which isn't to say that they didn't believe in a certain level of free will. Obviously, every ancient civilization that had any level of consciousness worth, you know, creating anything understood that there is an exchange that takes place. The person is always under the influence of the forces of the universe. The planets are the lords of karma in ancient astrology. They are like demigods or literal gods, the planets, okay? Think about that for a second. Venus is a goddess, literally, in real life. But in ancient astrology, it was understood that the goddess of Venus was at this location in the heavens at the time that you were birthed. And therefore, the goddess will give you this. Okay, now in modern astrology, we're talking about Venus, like Venus is going to help you do this and that and the other. But in ancient astrology, they were also very concerned with, you know, Venus isn't so healthy right here, so you might have more challenges with this, and that's just the way your life's going to be. Here's some remedies that you can use, some planetary remedies, some herbal remedies, whatever. Now that's still, we use that stuff today. None of that is foreign to anybody who's paid attention to any modern astrology video, right? But I hope the subtle difference is coming across clearly to you as to how there are differences and nuances between the two different astrologies. One is almost like it's more set in stone, this is your soul, period, point blank. And there's a certain wisdom that comes with that ancient astrological view of like, this is what you got, kid, deal with it. But at the same time, modern astrology is much more what you could call, there's a subtopic, I should say, of modern astrology called evolutionary astrology. And evolutionary astrology is, again, under this guise of modern astrology, or let's just call it psychology-oriented astrology that is modern, right? It's more oriented on like, this is the soul's journey, whereas in ancient astrology, like, this is the soul's journey through lifetimes and karma and cycles. Evolutionary astrology is like, yes, and psychology, this is how the soul thinks, this is how the soul approaches these situations. This is more about the interface of the soul with the third dimension and people around you. And this is how you can strategically use and apply the very energies in your chart to get your desired outcomes. And it becomes more about the growth of the soul within this lifetime, the conscious co-creation of the soul within their birth chart within this lifetime. So it's more about the applied kind of free will aspect meets the fate aspect of an astrology chart. That's more where we're at in modern astrology, especially within like evolutionary astrology, which honestly a lot of modern astrology kind of falls under that umbrella of evolutionary astrology, because the understanding of what I just outlined is kind of implicit within most modern astrology. In my opinion, it's kind of evident, right, that we like to use astrology for our advantage these days. We're less looking at it like a book that tells you a list of scientific facts that cannot be changed or be altered in any way, which is more reminiscent of the ancient way of understanding an astrology chart. Okay, now let's quickly just go over like just some clarity. Like, labels are labels, and you know, most modern astrologers are not going to sit there and tell you I'm a modern astrologer, but a lot of us will tell you what kind of base camps we pull from. Now let's get to this question of like, why would you use one over the other, and then let's get to the final question, and we'll wrap up the video about from there about how do you personally go about approaching a body of astrology, and should you pull from different bodies of astrology. Those two are going to kind of get answered at once. So when you approach the body, the large, vast body of astrology, there's a couple things to remember. Every major significant culture has some form of astrology in their lineage. There's a Native American form of astrology. Did you know that? If not, now you know, okay? So there's so many different perspectives out there, and so many different cultures have found their own channels, their own access ways to higher knowledge and understanding through the stars. Because the stars, y'all, it's a cloudy day, but normally, you know, you see them. They're literally there and influencing and impacting our lives. Their energy that radiates out back on Earth. Nikola Tesla proved that a moon of Jupiter had sent energy to Earth. if a moon of Jupiter, a little itty bitty bitty moon of Jupiter, Papa Jupiter, the big old planet, okay, can send energy to Earth, what you think Jupiter's sending to Earth? Exactly, energy. So keep in mind, through either what lens, no matter what lens of astrology you're looking through, that you're on the shoulders of giants. Any way that you slice the cake, you're on the shoulders of giants, and you are a part of an ancient sacred system. Whether it's modern astrology or ancient astrology that you are studying, you're participating in that, and that's a very sacred thing, you know. And I'm just gonna step off my passionate soapbox and just answer the question now. So when you're talking about what form of astrology is better for what, ancient astrology is generally considered better for like fate and karma events. Like, what are you destined to do? What is your soul's destiny? Okay, that's ancient astrology in a nutshell. Your soul's destined to do X, Y, and Z. And when you talk to a skilled astrologer, they'll be able to tell you that. If you talk to a modern astrologer, modern astrology is better for helping you understand how to live your life to your absolute fullest and accomplish your dreams in that, and accomplish specific things that you want to accomplish, how to become a more well-rounded, exalted kind of character, if you will, throughout your own lifetime. That's more what modern astrology, in my opinion, is good for. Also understanding your psychological tickings, because sometimes we are really good at keeping secrets from ourselves, and so when you understand your birth chart at a deeper level, you can really kind of understand your own inner tickings at a level that you just weren't previously up on, because it's explained to you in language you've never heard or context that you've never even begun to mentally visit, you know. And so there's so much value in really all forms of astrology that I'm familiar with. I'm sure there's some like weird manipulations of astrology that like just shouldn't really, you know, they're like Satanistic or something weird, and just don't even deal with that. But like that I know of, astrology in general is an incredible tool for helping us live more rich lives. And in terms of which form of astrology do you choose, you know, there's, going back to the ancient astrology, there's Babylonian astrology that's known for being very good with predictions. There's all sorts of different, like I was talking about the fate and karma aspect of ancient astrology, like in Vedic astrology, Indian astrology, there's things called yogas and also dashas. And yogas are aspects and planetary conjunctions with circumstances around them that actually produce a certain destined, fated outcome. Okay, again, going back to this, like ancient astrology is better for fate and kind of like what you're destined to do. And then, you know, just the experience of a dasha is like in your chart at any given point in your life, you're going to experience more of a given planet's energy than any other planet's energy in your chart at that stage of life, because it's kind of like the planetary season of your soul's experience. And that, again, is based on your own unique birth chart. There's so many layers, y'all, and so many levels to any school or understanding or philosophy of astrology, and this is just beginning to scratch the surface. But should you use ancient? Should you use modern? In my humble opinion, why not use both? Use whatever's available to you that makes sense to you and resonates to you. Really, astrology, at the end of the day, in terms of my understanding and comprehension of astrology, it's a tool to access more truth within yourself and to access higher spiritual realms of authenticity, of joy, of bliss, of prosperity, of things that the divine creative force of this universe wants you to experience. That's what astrology is. It's a tool that allows you to access that, okay? It's a pathway to get you to these different levels of understanding and consciousness so that you can evolve and grow and really reap the rewards, sip the nectar of the fruits that are life, you know, that are existent within life. So if you haven't already, subscribe. I don't know why you're not subscribed. Subscribe. If you haven't, you should subscribe. And also share this video with a friend if you felt like it was useful. Let me know your thoughts on ancient versus modern astrology down below. If you're a student of astrology, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Let me know what you agree with me on and what you disagree with me on, if anything, because conversation is the spice of life, you feel? And if you have any more questions, again, this is a Q&A series, so please do put a comment down below with a question that you want me to answer in an astrology vid, because I would really love to do that for you. So with that said, also I am available for readings if you want a reading. I love helping people access all this juicy information and more in their chart, and you know, I love doing that. It's something that I am really, I feel skilled in and I feel gifted with. So if I can provide you that service and you resonate with my content, please don't hesitate to reach out at wisdomdrops, that's all Z's, at gmail.com. And I will be in touch with you with my current rates and specials that I have going on. And with that said, after all the love and everything, love to you, and thank you for anything that you share back with this channel and this video. With the stars, my friends, that's how you should live. So with that said, may the stars be with you, not against you. Peace.